All right. I decided to do a video today instead of waiting until Tuesday because some shit happened this last week. Namely, that the United States government has decided that they are going to take my pension from me. Oh, happy Sunday. Happy Veterans Day. Today we're going to talk about Veterans Day and Norway and what that means. And hopefully I'm going to share this video with a few media outlets and see if I can get some fucking answers. So, with Veterans Day, I would like to talk about the sacredity of today, especially since it's on Sunday, and the potential for abuse and why we need to take a step back from the hero worship of Veterans Day. Because I remember the first Veterans Day that I was in basic tech school, and of course we celebrated. Everyone got free meals at the Buffalo Wild Wings. But the second Veterans Day, I'll never forget it. I was in Vegas, and a group of us had just gone out to all the food places and everything, getting free meals, and we were like, we're idiots. 20-year-old kids who thought that we were invincible and entitled to this, and it was about a couple weeks later that I did my first mission, and I watched them hit an IED. I watched a convoy hit an IED, and I felt unworthy and really guilty of our celebration of how we treated Veterans Day when we were in Vegas. Even though we were fighting the war, there were people overseas that were dying. And I find it really hard to celebrate people when we're in the middle of conflict and people are dying, especially today. Because we've been at this for how long? Well, I guess that's what I say on that. This time of year is just really difficult. And I hope that we honor it correctly rather than wastefully. But I want to talk about Norway right now because I had a PTSD moment. I'm having this issue with my son's mother where she's stolen my son and Norway is keeping him from me. And this is all punishment for my whistleblowing shit. I'm going to explain the entire thing in this story, in this video, and hopefully someone can do something with this. So, I made that documentary Drone with a Norwegian film crew, but now I'm actually seeing that it was probably all of a setup for something. I don't know. It seems like there's something really fucking sinister going on, and the only thing that I can see is something sinister going on. I don't know what it is or why, other than I've embarrassed a lot of people, and all I've done is just talk. So there's this strange thing that happened. So when the film premiered and everything, and I thought everything was going good, and after the first premiere of our film, I got back the first film tour of our film in the film festival scene. This is why I should always be aware when I get happy and vulnerable and I feel like I'm on the right path, because something comes along to kick me off my feet. I get back and I take my dog out for a walk, and he gets attacked by a chihuahua, and the owner kicks Baron in the head 8 times. I have security video footage. And then he calls child animal services, and so he attacks my dog. I separate Baron and this dog, and I yell at Baron to stay still because he ran up to this dog because he loves small dogs. He thinks they're the coolest. And this guy yells at me. He was like shrieking, and it all seems like a setup. And it happened right outside my mom's window, and she didn't even notice. And I take my dog and I yell at this guy. I take my dog inside. I come downstairs, and he's like, "You dog attacked my dog. I'm gonna sue you." And I was like, "Can I see your dog? Can I take pictures of it so I have my own record?" And he wouldn't show me. He wouldn't prove it to me. And I said, "All right, I would help you if that was the case, but I don't. My dog doesn't attack dogs. He's my service animal." And the guy tried to pick a fight with me, and I just left. Then he chased me down. He rode my ass all the way down from corner of Mullen and Brooks to all the way to the Good Food store. And when I got out, I was like, "All right, I'm gonna beat this guy's ass." He looked at me and ran off. Then he called the cops, and I had a warrant issued out for my arrest. And they accused me of animal abuse, even though the animal services came, checked my dog, everything was fine. The video showed that I didn't do anything. The United States government still tried to throw me in jail for 6 months for animal abuse. And even though I had proof that I didn't do it, and even though I had proof that I didn't do it, they still were like, "If you don't get in trouble for 2 years, we'll expunge it for your record." I didn't do anything. Like, they're trying to make me afraid of doing anything. But what it was they were trying to stop me from testifying at the NSA investigations in 2015. And that's, I think, where we're going to start with this. I stood up for myself. In fact, actually, Judge Jinx, when I was in her courtroom, she said, I don't give veterans special privileges, and PTSD is just an excuse. Mr. Bryant, I'm going to punish you according to the full effect of the law. What do you say about that? And I was like, "Excuse me, I'll be known as Staff Sergeant Brandon Bryant in the court of law because I earned my ranking with an honorable discharge. Thank you." And yeah, standing up for myself apparently does a lot of work because these people are fucking cowards and they're idiots. I've not met one really just worker in the government. They're all drones. So I get to do the NSA, so when I get to Germany, I basically go full pagan. I didn't think that I was gonna come back to the United States. I pretty much thought that I was gonna die. Yes, the signs and the omens were pretty severe. But I surrendered to that. You know, the samurai have this thing about facing death every day, about surrendering death. Every day you can die. And I was doing that. And I had a really fantastic time, to be honest, when I was in that state of freedom and flow. And it was strange. So after all this happened, we get down to the beginning of November, and I had this debate at the Nobel Center with a Norwegian politician and a Norwegian Air Force general. And afterwards, I had this feeling that shit was just going to go down, and I had already been making this plan because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it safely back to the United States, make it safely back home. I was going to kill myself, and I never told anyone about this. But as after this, around this period of this debate, everyone around me was telling me I should get a girlfriend and I should settle down and everything. And I was looking at the state of the world, Trump running for president, and I was pretty sure I was going to end it. I didn't trust Obama, the Democrats, the Republicans. You know, everyone was calling me a traitor or a monster. It wasn't good. But I never told anyone what I was going to do, and I think that that's a good lesson that I've learned, is because if I don't tell anyone what I'm going to do, no one knows what I'm going to do. I just do it anyway. but after that night, I hung out really late with some people, met some Norwegian criminals, a couple Russians. Uh, they really like me over there, so uh, I'm I've got a one up with the mafioso crowd around the world because I'm speaking truth to power, which is kind of cool, actually. Um, Respect. Um, but afterwards, after I go back to so this was a weird thing. So I get there, and we had this film showing at the Red Cross, and the film crew didn't buy me a hotel. And as he's saying this, he introduces me to this gorgeous woman. She's probably one of the prettiest women I've ever met. Um, Absolutely fucking beautiful. Um, and they don't tell me that she's attached already. But when I meet her boyfriend, it was really weird because I was encouraged to hit on her anyway, even if she has a boyfriend. But I took a step back because I don't do that to men. I don't interfere with a relationship if that's totally dishonorable. So I took a step back. I flirted with her. I flirted with him too. I mean, what's flirting other than making people feel better about themselves? And so the next night, so that night of so they offered me to stay in their extra bedroom instead of buying a hotel room, and I was like, all right, fiscally conservative, whatever. Um, I would prefer the company, but if I were honest, I probably would have preferred to have been alone at that time. So I get back from this debate. It's a few days later. I get back from this debate, and there's this woman and this man sitting at their table with wine with them, and they're talking, and it's late. And I get introduced to both of them. The woman went to tango class. She had spider net stockings, a black dress, and ruby red lips, and curly black hair, and moss green eyes. She's beautiful. And she says, I was like, you look very nice and dressed up. What's the occasion? She's like, I just got done from tango class. I do this little stupid jig, and she gives me this look like, you're weird. And I'm like, nice meeting you. I got to do some work. And I wrote a suicide letter. I don't know if anyone had access to it because I didn't put it online at the time. But my plan had been after that debate and with everything that I see what was going on, I didn't think that I knew that we weren't going to win this whole drone war, other than make our statement and embarrass them and sabotage their ability to make war. At least I hoped. It doesn't look like that really worked. But so I go and I write this letter, and my thought was I was going to commit seppuku on the White House front lawn. I finally felt like I had my honor back. I finally felt like I had my life in order, and I I was really scared for my family and my mother with the whole FBI calling me and the OSI and agents going to my mother's door, my dog getting attacked, the relationships that I've been, girls being scared of being in a relationship with me because of all this. I would rather just fucking put a gun in my mouth. It's not worth the fucking pain. But I don't think anyone knew about it. And so the next day, I go out with the director's husband and his best friend, and they're fucking arguing, and his girlfriend at the time. They're arguing with me, saying that I should settle down, that I should move, that I should get a girlfriend, that I all this type of bullshit. And I'm telling them no. Like I know what's happening. I know what's going on. Like I didn't want it. Oh, and I should say that the night that I met my son's mother, I cursed death. I told her that I was coming for her and that there was nothing she could do to stop me. And but I really didn't want to die. My entire life, all I wanted was a family and to be a good lover and a husband and father, and all I wanted was to be a teacher. But that was taken from me. So I decided I was just going to end this life, and hopefully in the next life I would have a better life, you know? I do believe in that type of thing. Um, but so that night I'm telling these guys like I just want a companion for a moment, someone I can connect to and travel with and um, enjoy life's pleasures. But I didn't think I was going to get the chance. And the director's husband, I'm pretty drunk at this point, and I'm like, let's go home. I don't want to, like, I tried to talk to some Norwegian girls, and they don't talk to men like me. I look like a Norwegian, but like the people in Norway are really, really fucking stuck up unless they're drunk. And then you're their best friend for the night, and then they're embarrassed about their expression of emotions the next day. It's like having drunk sex without the sex and all the embarrassment with the show of emotion. Um, so I go to the I go to the bar, I get another drink, and I'm talking to this. Well, I think I try to flirt with this girl on one side of me, and she kind of gets up and leaves. I just kind of go and I say, "Hey, what's up?" Like, this girl is just sitting there waiting for a drink, and she just kind of looks forward, and I say, "Hey, how's it going?" And she just looks at me, and then keeps looking forward. And I'm like, "All right, this is bullshit. I don't, you know, fuck it. I need to find a pagan goth redhead chick who's athletic." Oh, silly. Mm, whatever. Um, so I get my drink, I finish the drink, and I decide I'm gonna go into the bathroom and just clean up and leave. I'm just gonna go walk around town. And as I'm putting on my hat, I'm looking down at the ground, and she steps right in front of me. And I look up, and she's got water, glasses of water in her hands, and a whole thing of water. And she looks at me, she's like, "Would you kind of like to come sit down with me?" And I was like, sure. I didn't really know what to think other than, and then we started talking, and we started talking about, like, I wanted to talk with someone. Everyone just wanted to talk to me about drones and politics and all blah, 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 blah. I fucking hate it. It's like, I fucking hate it. So we talked about books and comic books and video games and tattoos and dreams and hopes and poems. And it was nice. It was actually what I wanted. I didn't really want the sex. I had plenty of that. I just wanted the companionship and the connection. And at the end of the night, Lowen came to me and he was about to leave. And I was like, all right, let's let go. It was really nice meeting you, ma'am. I had a really wonderful evening. Please enjoy yourself. And I got up and left because I had a plan. And the next day, I was really hungover. And I go back to the apartment and they're saying that they're getting ready for a party. I'm like, I feel like shit too much. And the girl, she's like, Melissa will be there. And I'm like, you know what? Might as well go for it. And she gave me the best pickup line I've ever gotten before. Well, second best now, I guess. Uh, the best pickup line, or the second best pickup line was we were walking. I might have been walking her near closer to her apartment, but I didn't plan on going home with her. But she's like, "Would you like to come over and smoke a J and read some comic books?" And I was like, "That's a smooth operation right there." So we did. We went over there, and I saw her comic books, and we sat down on the couch and smoked a J, and I didn't really know what to do. I'd never been so blatantly flirted with before, and But I bet this is where I see that it was a manipulation. Whole thing was a manipulation because we started connecting and everything, and got me to turn around. At least I didn't consider not killing myself for a while, but when we had our premiere of our film on New York Times Square to a full and sold out theater, and almost no one showed up because someone bought all the tickets and didn't want others to see it. And that was what made me realize I should just end it because it wasn't going to go anywhere. And I get back to my lawyers tells me that I should probably stay away from out of the States for a while. So I go back to Norway, and I had two options. I was going to go up and visit a Norwegian bruja who traces her lineage back by 3,000 years, or to Africa and get inducted into a iboga shamanic circle. But I couldn't get the I couldn't get the visa because I didn't have the money at the time, and I was waiting for that. And when I applied for it, it was too late to go to the ceremony. And when I tried to go to the Norwegian bruja, Melissa actually freaked out on me and said that I was going to do stuff that without her. And it was really a strange scenario. So I stayed, and it just made me depressed. But it was a really weird scenario where I decided to love that woman. I didn't just fall in love with her. It wasn't just like some magical thing that appeared out of nowhere. It was I decided to love her and give in to my own what I wanted to give. And she abused it. She belittled me. I remember the first time I was telling one of her friends that how we met, and I was trying to make it a magical experience and tell the story, and she goes, gets up and walks away and embarrasses me in front of this guy and his wife. And I just stopped talking. I just sat there like, that was hurtful, and I didn't know how to respond to that. Because I really didn't know how to defend myself in a relationship because I'd never been in that type of relationship before. And then she leaves, and I got into a depression. It was really weird. It was really stressful and weird. But the more that time went on, I never did anything right, and it was just abuse, abuse, abuse. And when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to hang on and be better, it's like you've got your fingers on the edge of the cliff and they're stomping on your fingers. And you're just kind of right before the stomp happens, you're letting go and swinging to another place, and they're following you along because they're on the cliff's edge with you, but they're standing on it. And when I tried to leave a couple times, it was like black fucking magic. And then I had enough of it in April, and I was offered to come back to the States, and I was going to come back to the States, get barren, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go back, but I was just going to reset my life. And she gets pregnant with my son. And this is why I think that it was entirely a setup, because of all the abuse and everything that's been going on since. So she gets pregnant with my son. I bring her to the States, and she basically trashes my friends and my family the entire time. She trashes the country the entire time. She hates me. I can't do anything right. I try to take her to Glacier National Park, and all she's doing is berating me and telling me that I'm stupid and I need to get my shit together. And she's a clinical psychologist with specializations in humiliation studies and auditory hallucinations. And I should have been aware that was that's like a breaker. But she leaves to go back home, and I stay here because I'm dealing with the VA, and the VA decides that they're not going to process my shit. They just decide to stop my paperwork for something, so I can't go back to Norway. And I had all this stuff going on, and there was this. I just felt like my heart was hurting, and something inside my heart didn't want me to go back. It just was telling me to stay away. But I felt an obligation. I still do feel an obligation towards my son. That was the entire thing. All I just wanted was a child and a relationship where it's a good I want to be a good family. I want to be a good father because my father wasn't. But get back to Norway, and it's just abuse, abuse, abuse again. And the Norwegians that made the film with me, she separates me and isolates me. But I feel like they pulled away anyway. And I decided to take a break for myself to heal my body, as I've been losing a lot of weight and I've been very sick for a while. And it pisses off the whistleblower community to think that I abandoned them when I'm not the fucking leader. I'm showing you how to do it so that you can do it yourself. That's the whole point. Learn from my mistakes. Whatever I do better. I don't want it. I never wanted fame or fortune in the first place. So now I could use a little bit of fortune. And so what happened was she just kept fucking abusing me. And I just felt like I was going to kill myself. Like, she made me feel worthless. She said that nothing that I did mattered, that I'm stupid and I can't do anything right, and my love isn't worth anything, and I was a murderer, and no one would love me. There's no one in the world that would love me. And so I decided to kill myself again, and I almost did it. Right before my son was born, on Veterans Day of 2016, actually. So 2 years ago today. I walked out to the Statue Park and beyond with the third SOS Dagger 2 that I was issued, and a horn of mead. And I drank the mead and cursed the gods. And right before I went to stab myself in the gut and kill myself, I heard this voice, my own voice actually, say, "What about your son?" And that was it. And then I raged and cursed the gods and passed out drunkenly underneath a pine tree for about 5 hours. And then, like, my body was wrecked. I had a migraine. It was horrid. And I couldn't walk. My right leg was stiff. My back was stiff. But I made it back home, and I didn't know what to do. And I opened the door and I said I was sorry, and the next thing I know, Melissa is jumping up and she's attacking me. And of course, I'm a combatives trained soldier, and the first thing that I do, because I was caught off guard, is I hit her in the chest and I knock her away. And I felt damned. I felt cursed. I felt like I never thought that I would be in that position, or I would ever I've never hit a lover before, or a woman, actually. And to hit the mother of my son, her friend was there and saw the whole thing, and all she did was yell at me. All she did was degrade me and tell me that I should have killed myself, that it would have been better for everybody. And I was like, this is the reward for my sacrifice. This fucking setup. And then after my son was born, she kicked me out of the house and tricked me into not signing a piece of paper that allows the Norwegian government to say I don't have any rights to my son, even though I'm trying to. They're literally denying me my right to my child because of one signature that she tricked me into not signing. And then a few months later, it's in February, and we're at a coffee shop, and I'm telling her about my book that I was writing and what changes I was making to it. And she's like, "You're going to have to pay me alimony." And I'm like, "Excuse me, we weren't married." And I just get up and I walk away because that hurt. All she wanted was money. All she wanted was to live her Sex in the City lifestyle by being served. She thought I was going to be rich. She thought I did this to be rich, but I didn't. And when I was heard about it, I left. I didn't hear from her for 10 days. And when I go to her, I decided to go to her apartment. And no, it wasn't. It might have been 10 days. It was a week, 5 days. Yeah, about 5 days. So I go over to the apartment, and people are coming out. So, I mean, I go in all the time. Like, I didn't think anything of it. And I go into the courtyard and I go up to her door. I've got my computer bag. I've got my notebooks in my coat pocket. Like, I look like I just got back from school. Um, and so I show up and I knock on the door and no answer. And I'm texting her. She's not answering. And I'm saying, why are you doing this? What's going on? I'm crying. Next thing you know, I hear a buzz inside. And I was like, she called someone. So I stand up and there's the police outside of this gate. And I go over to the gate and I'm saying, hey, she must have called you. Now we can solve this. Good. You know, the Norwegian police has a reputation of being fair. And so I open the gate and let him in. And the guy walks up to me and grabs me and he says, resisting arrest, resisting arrest. And I'm like, what? And 7 people in SWAT gear come around the corner and tackle me to the ground and beat the shit out of me. And that permanently damaged my arm. Like, it's still damaged. And throw me in they beat the fuck out of me and throw me in the back of the vehicle. And I'm listening to the guy reporting this in. And he says that there's a man and a woman and a child in the apartment and a man that they arrested in the courtyard. And I'm like, excuse me, there's a man in the apartment? That's my girlfriend and my son. And he looks at me and says, she's not your girl anymore. And I was like, why did you arrest me? And he's like, I didn't like the way that you look. And I've got the uniform and I've got the authority. And I was like, that's bullshit. You're fucking bullshit. That's not how you treat others. It's supposed to be innocent before proven guilty. He's like, that's not the way that Norway works. And I was like, that's how freedom works. That's how free countries work. And so they booked me and took me in solitary confinement for 36 hours. And none of the Norwegians did anything other than get me home. And when I tried to ask them for help in this scenario, they told me that they couldn't help me with it, even though their country's mistreating me. And I know this is very much in part of my whistleblowing stuff. They took a passive role. You know, it's ironic that they support a whistleblower in doing his stuff, but when it comes to holding their own country and themselves accountable, they can't even do it. And so I must do it, I guess, at this point. And that's why I feel really betrayed by the country, because it's my ancestral country, and they have a blood debt against me. They betrayed me. When I went to the United States Embassy, the embassy couldn't help me. When I've gone to the authorities here, the authorities can't. I'm stuck. And now Norway, who's the richest OPEC country, one of the richest OPEC countries in the world, who makes a fuck ton of money and completely socialized. Everyone gets taken care of. I have a disability. They're trying to take $200 from my disability check to pay for child support. And the United States government is letting them. My ex makes 4 times as much as I do. She doesn't need the money. And she's stealing it from me. The richest country in the world is stealing my money from me because they want to make a point. They're trying to hurt me. It's like, it's like Bill Gates, taking money from a homeless man for a perceived offense. And the United States isn't helping. The United States they're just passively letting it happen. And I've talked to the authorities there and I'm saying, is this going to help me get my son back? Is this going to help me put me on the path to get my son back? And they tell me, no, it's not. I just have to pay them. So if they have no authority, then their jobs are worthless. Their jobs are absolutely completely useless. Because all they're doing is enforcing the power structure rather than enforcing justice and law. They're not serving the people. They're serving the ends of those that want to rule and destroy. And so we're at this point, like my ex won't even let me Skype with him. She sends me all these stupid fucking nasty emails when I'm trying to be nice to her, and I'm just done. I'm just done with it. I'm done with people treating me badly in the first place. But I'm going to be sending this video out to all the media that I can, and I'm asking them to report on this story because Norway stole my story. I made them millions of dollars, and then they treat me like this. That is totally dishonorable. They should be embarrassed for what they've done. They claim to be a peaceful country, and yet they beat me up and exiled me from it. the Nobel Peace Center, when I reached out to them, they decided that they were going to separate themselves from me and not hold their own country accountable. Norway sells weapons. You know, they have a deal with the United Nations that they won't sell weapons, and now they're being praised for not selling weapon parts to Saudi Arabia. Like, you know, it's just a bunch of fucking hypocrisy, and they need to be held accountable for that shit. So I'm going to be sending this video out to every media outlet that I can think of, and I'm asking you guys to report on a whistleblower having his son taken from him for this. I'm going to send these to politicians, and I'm going to see where it goes from there. So thank you for listening, and happy Veterans Day.